How much was this crypto craze fueling the rise in Nvidia?
Well, I mean, on the one hand, it looks really bad. You had something which was a $280 billion a quarter market in the first quarter. Now it's nothing. Annualize that was $1 billion market that's gone away in the space of 3 quarters. Looks terrible, but that is kind of taking attention away from their other businesses, which are growing like the weeds still. Is
there still potential for Nvidia and other chip makers in cryptocurrency, or is that a dying breed?
We saw Bitcoin come and go. We've seen Ethereum come and go. It's a technology story for these guys, right? You can mine these things, becomes good enough so that it's worth investing money in to make custom chips that'll do the same job. Therefore, your standard chips like GPUs become less efficient, so the sales go away. So for them, it's a technology cycle. We see a new currency come in. Maybe it'll be another boom for them.
Mike, I have a chart here in my GTV library showing the comparison of the chip sector to the broader tech sector, and you're seeing quite a big divergence there. You know, what's really been fueling this?
Well, as you said, I mean, chip stocks are prone to sort of this boom and bust cycle. If you look at the Philadelphia Semiconductor Index, I mean, it was up more than 35% over each year in the past 2 years. So I think obviously this crypto revenue was sort of this bonus surprise revenue that companies like Nvidia and some others were enjoying somewhat out of the blue out of the last year. It's safe to say that exuberance in the crypto market of last year definitely seeped into these stocks. But there is a few other things going on that I would point out. The big story this week, obviously, was that China was suspending the approval of some video games, which leads many to believe, well, gamers will have less incentive to update their hardware. And I think while that's not necessarily part and parcel of the trade war, it does make you wonder about chip stocks and their exposure to trade tensions. I think much of tech is immune to it, but chip stocks obviously have a lot of exposure to trade tensions.
So, Ian, there's also been a lot of failed mergers. Do you think we're on the verge of a chip downturn? Is your job about to get a lot?
We'll see about that. I mean, one of the companies that reported yesterday was Applied Materials. They make the equipment that companies like Intel, Samsung use to make chips. Because of the lead time, because of how long it takes to build and set up a factory, they're usually a very sort of canary in the coal mine type company. What they said was, we're not going to grow basically for the first time in 10 quarters. That caused a lot of people a lot of concern. At the same time, they came back shouting, no, AI, all of these new technologies, self-driving cars, they're going to continue this boom that we've seen in demand. Don't worry about it.
Quickly, Mike, any rethinking coming in terms of earnings expectations for the rest of the year?
Well, for the full year, I mean, semiconductor stocks are looking great. Obviously, a lot of that's probably priced in. They're looking at estimates for about 52% earnings growth this year. But it kind of goes to that as good as it gets notion, because the forecasts for next year, 2019, are only about 11%. And then for 2020, only about 5.2%. So it's definitely, sort of peak growth for this year for now, it looks like.